So here we are with part 2 of Effortless Abundance, and I'm calling this Effortless Abundance 101. So this is the basic information that will help you to realize this practice for yourself. I want to begin by talking about unconditional love, which is where we were at the end of part 1 of this workshop. And I'm just going to take myself back into unconditional love in order to talk about it with you. And I invite you to do the same. So you would center yourself, take a breath, and as you inhale, connect with the unconditional love that is in your heart, that is your birthright. And this is literally what we are made of. And when we tune ourselves to that frequency, to that aspect of our own being, we recognize it. It feels like those moments when we are with a friend who is troubled, those moments when we are being completely open and honest with ourselves, those moments when we are in a solemn ceremony, like a marriage ceremony, when we are fully present to our own depth, the truth of our being. Unconditional love has incredible healing power. It transforms scars and wounds and trauma. I'm talking about emotional scars and emotional wounds. It transforms us when we are afraid or troubled, and we will work with that aspect of unconditional love in part 3 of this workshop. When we talk about the things that block our experience of effortless abundance. Unconditional love is like a beam of transformational light that comes from your own heart. And you always have it available to you. And it's so powerful. I use it all the time. I use it as a counselor when I'm working with someone and they reveal, or the work that we're doing together uncovers a fear or a trauma that they were not aware of. We use unconditional love to heal and transform that fear or that pain. I send unconditional love from my heart to my client. But I also teach my client how to do this for herself or himself. Because this is something that is accessible to all of us. It is also, you might have noticed this already as you're holding the frequency of unconditional love in the exercise we did in part 1. It is also that part of us which is the observer. In the wisdom traditions of the East, it is spoken of the detached observer. And this aspect of us that is unconditional love is that observer. Detached in the sense of being completely outside of any judgment or any emotional, dramatic response, but also compassionate, accepting of the experience and the energies of whatever is there in front of it to be observed, acknowledging the truth of either the self or the other, the person across from you, beside you. That compassionate acknowledgement is very powerful as well. It's like it's saying, I honor you as you are in this moment. I would not change you in any way. As you are in this moment, no matter how you might seem to yourself to be flawed or broken or hurting or incomplete, I acknowledge you as complete and perfect and whole in my view. That is the compassionate acknowledgement of the observer that is contained within the frequency of unconditional love. it is also, in a sense, a celebration of what is, an appreciation of what is, all that is. It makes no judgment of any kind about anything. So the minute we go into our minds, we go out of unconditional love, because our minds have kind of as their job to discern and make judgments, and is it this or is it that? So we always look for unconditional love in our hearts. And it is always there. We can always access it through our intention from that place. As you hold this frequency of unconditional love more and more, if you make a practice of it, you are radiating it. It is emanating from you into the world. You're also radiating it out into your own physical body, your mind, and your emotional being as well. And the world is always going to show you what you are. So it will show you in return more and more of the energy of unconditional love. And as I said in part 1, at the very end of part 1, unconditional love is source, is creator. It is the flow of all that is, the universe. So when you hold this frequency of unconditional love in your heart, you invite and put yourself into the flow of all creation. And what it ends up looking like and feeling like and being is effortless abundance. And effortless abundance is not just money, although I will speak about that. It is time and love and friendship and enjoyment and serendipity and happiness and gratitude and feeling good and vitality and health and joy. It is all of these things. Abundance is not necessarily I'm choosing to win the lottery, so I will win the lottery. Or I'm choosing to own a red car, so somehow someone's going to give me a red car, or I'm going to win a red car, or I'm going to win the money that I then use to buy a red car. The red car and the lottery winning these are external symbols of what we think we need, what we want. And our wanting will actually get in the way of our receiving Effortless Abundance. So as much as possible, let go of what you think it has to feel like and look like and be specifically. I have to be in this neighborhood, living in this kind of a house or apartment or condo, and I have to have this kind of a car, and my partner has to be this kind of a person with this kind of a job. Let go of all that. Because those preoccupations of the mind will clutter and block the flow. And you won't necessarily recognize the abundance when it's there for you if you're so focused on it has to look like this and sound like this and be like this. I consider myself an expert on unrequited longing because for many, many years I just wanted. It felt like I wanted all the time. And it didn't really get me anywhere. You can choose it and make affirmations about it and make vision boards with pictures and text about it, and you may get part of it sort of over time. But what I'm talking about when I talk about effortless abundance is an endless, joyous flow of all the things I listed earlier that are abundance. It's not just financial or physical, it's every aspect of our lives, of our being. Just feeling blessed and provided for and safe and joyous. Money is flow. Money is literally currency. It is current. It is flow. We collectively have chosen to create this system of money as a system of flow, of give and take, of energy exchange. Take a breath and really let that sink in. Money is flow. Other things that are flow are smiles and laughter and love and touch and sharing, compliments and comments about what a nice day it is. That's an exchange of energy as well. That's part of the flow. So you can see that we've placed money kind of in a separate category, and it's not. So again, just take a breath and release as much as you can that sense of money as a thing. Money is a process. It's a flow. And again, take a breath. So being part of the flow of abundance means being part of the flow of energy exchange in the world. I was invited to speak to a group of people who are desperately poor. living on welfare, and struggling with addictions. And I thought about what I would say to people who effectively have nothing, have no money, no hope, apparently no job skills. What would I say to them about being part of the flow? And it's the same thing that I'll say to you. When you go outside of your house or your apartment and you walk around and you feel appreciation for the sky and the clouds and the sun and the day, when you run the frequency of gratitude for even the smallest thing, use that as your catalyst and feel gratitude, and then run that as a frequency. You don't have to be grateful for anything in particular. When you're running the frequency of gratitude, you're just running that frequency of gratitude. When you do that in your home, yes, that's great. When you do it outside, it's even better, because you're then out and about and part of the flow. Exchanging pleasantries, smiling at people, offering a helping hand somewhere. All of these put you in the flow. So my advice to the person who has absolutely nothing, the person who's living on welfare and really struggling, is that they volunteer to help someone else. It's a very powerful way to put themselves into the flow of energy exchange, giving and receiving. Engaging with other people in conversation, holding that frequency of appreciation, that frequency of unconditional love, if possible, because that's the mother lode, that will really put you in the flow. Spending time in nature, holding that frequency in your heart as you are in nature, this will also put you in the flow. The natural world around us, rocks, trees, grass, soil, plants, sky, clouds, water, all of these are filled with the energy of unconditional love. It's radiating from them constantly. It's very subtle. You have to get quiet to feel it. But especially if you are running that frequency from your heart center and you go out into nature, even if it is a small city park, and you tune to the trees and plants and grasses and soil around you, you'll feel it. You'll feel that frequency of unconditional love coming from the natural world around you. And it creates a feedback loop. You're giving it, and you're receiving it from the natural world, and you're giving it and you're receiving it. And it becomes much stronger and more grounded within you when you do this. So these are all ways that you can put yourself in the flow of abundance. My experience of living in effortless abundance has made it easier and easier for me to effortlessly give to others and to receive. But the question always arises, where do you start? If you've never done it and you don't have it, or you don't feel like you have it. So the suggestions that I've been giving in the last few minutes are addressed to that question. You always start from where you are. And that is what we will be addressing in part 3. You always start from your truth. And if your truth is that you have doubts that you could experience effortless abundance, you have noticed a fear come up when I mentioned the word money, or an anxiety, then that's where you are. That's your truth right now. And no exploration of effortless abundance would be complete without talking about what stops us from getting there. The blocks within us has nothing to do with the world outside of us. It has everything to do with who we are right now. What is within us that doubts, or is anxious, or has fear, or questions. These are all legitimate. They are reasonable. So at the end now of this second part of the Effortless Abundance presentation, I'm inviting you to feel into your doubts, your questions, your anxiety or fear. And if you have a partner who can work on this with you, prepare to do that in part 3.